I joined Toastmasters at the beginning of 2018. It was probably after my grandfather had passed away, and he passed away from cancer. So it was really difficult to kind of pick myself back up. I started sharing that journey with people online that all of a sudden it kind of gave me some hope that there are other people who are going through the same thing or have been through it, and that it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel that grief for a little bit. I wanted to be a light for those who were going through that. That was probably one of the biggest reasons why I started the YouTube channel, was to be that light, even if it was just one person that I've reached.
Entrepreneurship is always such an interesting journey. It's kind of a solo journey for a lot of people because you're having to build this out of your own motivation. You're having to keep yourself motivated. You're having to really dive deep to figure out what are my ideas. And I love that your messaging is helping people. So, what kept you in Toastmasters since 2018?
I would have to say the people, also helping others in their speaking ability, giving them the motivation and inspiration to step out of their comfort zone.
What do you feel like is the difference between expressing yourself in person in front of an audience during a speech and doing it through social media?
Gosh, there's a huge difference.
Who's inspiring you today?
Gosh, he's just straightforward. He's very intentional on how he speaks. You can do this if you set your mind to it. And I'm just like, man, to have that intensity when you're talking to somebody, I need that gravitas. I need that extra umph, I think. I come off like sometimes a little too fun.
Toast and tea, where we have all the tea, tips, and stories, here to inspire you. Hosted by Little Norway's Toastmasters. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast, Toast and Tea. I'm your host for today's podcast. My name is Shantia Crowley, and I have with us today a guest, Tessa Banning. Is that how you say your last name, Tessa?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't even ask. That Tessa Banning is here with us from Bremerton 63 Toastmasters. She's been a part of Toastmasters since 2018. And today she's going to be sharing a little bit more of her experience with us. She's a branch manager by day, an entrepreneur by night. She's a founder of TJ Bainsky, her YouTube channel, it gives you a motivation with a kick and a smile. Her passions is sharing knowledge with others, learning, travel, and new experiences. So Tessa, I would love for you to start out with telling us, why did you decide to join Toastmasters? And just go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience.
Certainly. Thank you so much for having me, Shanti. I'm Tessa, branch manager by day, entrepreneur by night. Let's see. I joined Toastmasters at the beginning of 2018. It was probably after my grandfather had passed away, and he passed away from cancer. So it was really difficult to kind of pick myself back up. During those couple months after having some time off of work, I was able to really kind of hone in on where I wanted to go and realize I wanted to leave a legacy just like he did. He was first generation Filipino coming here to America to establish our family. And I wanted to really just remember him. And the best way that I could do that was try to figure out what I wanted to do. I listened to a lot of motivational speeches by Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, and a couple of different types. My family always thought that I was a great entertainer and loved to tell jokes, but stories as well. And so that was something that I really wanted to go into, was speaking. I didn't know if there was a club nearby or some sort of way of how to do that. And it wasn't until someone had talked to me about Toastmasters in general that there was a local chapter that I could join. I ended up joining Capital Club in Lacey, and was there for quite some time. So much fun. I would have to say probably my favorite part about Toastmasters is the impromptu table topics, because you can just go off the fly. You're flying off the seat of your pants with an answer that hopefully gives that passion, that little bit of you, as you tell your story. I do love doing speeches as well. And I find that I'm not the typical speaker when it comes to like writing everything out. I usually go by bullet points and tell stories within those bullet points. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about how I joined Toastmasters and my journey. But yeah, it all started with my grandfather and trying to leave that legacy in becoming a speaker.
Well, I love hearing that. I feel like every time I hear about people's stories on the podcast, they're very intentional about why they joined Toastmasters. And it sounds like you were going through a shift in your life or a new chapter in your life where you wanted to move in a specific direction and you wanted it to be a positive direction. So, what kept you in Toastmasters since 2018?
I would have to say the people, but also helping others in their speaking ability, giving them the motivation and inspiration to step out of their comfort zone and really just own their voice. You utilize the tones and functionality of your voice, but also being able to express themselves with their hands, their body gestures, their way that they visualize things. And that has really just impacted me a lot. Being able to see really great speakers is also another motivation for me because that levels me up, and being able to see that I could be in that potential one day. And I'm always comparing myself to like when I first did my first speech where I was like shaking in my chair or um trying to figure out what else to say and saying all the filler words. But looking back at my past experience and then to now and seeing that how much growth I've, I don't know, incurred, it's just so cool. And I would say anyone who is just learning about their voice and like being able to exercise it in a positive manner, like through Toastmasters, I think it's a great way to just get out there and express yourself, be your authentic self.
I 1000%. I couldn't agree more. And I guess I'm going to sort of dive a little further into this. Is you have like a YouTube channel. You've experimented with social media. What do you feel like is the difference between expressing yourself in person in front of an audience during a speech and doing it through social media?
Gosh, there's a huge difference. For me, in person, it gives you that thrill, that I don't know what to say, like gravitas. Like it's just so invigorating. It can be really exciting. When I was younger, I used to do speeches on top of picnic tables for all of my friends in the playground. And for some odd reason, that never scared me. And when it comes to Toastmasters, being able to speak in front of others, I still feel that bit of excitement, that bit of thrill. When I speak in front of a camera, it's not as impactful, I feel, like, because 'cause you're not really able to look at the people within their eyes and see their reactions live. With speaking in person, you're able to interact with the audience, play a little bit, look around the room and scan for those like-minded people and kind of play off of the audience's emotions as well. Because then you could play with your voice and be more exciting. Again, with being on camera, it's quite a bit different. You're having to stage yourself, differently and have to really time yourself. Sometimes the joke doesn't land because there's no audience to react to, right? Except for their comments, like they'll leave a comment every now and again, but it's not quite the same as a live performance where you can see that instant reaction, their instant, I guess, connection.
Yes, I absolutely agree with the connection. I That's why I attend as many meetings as I possibly can because not only are you building a community with the people, you get to chat before and after the meeting, but when you are up there presenting, talking about your speech or talking about your experiences or doing table topics and speaking off the cuff, people are reacting in real time to what you're saying, and you can kind of continue that dialogue with the audience, right? So it doesn't just feel like, okay, I'm just speaking to people, I'm just saying things. People actually respond to what you're saying. And you can kind of feed off of that and choose how to redirect your conversation or redirect the dialogue depending on how they're responding to you. So that response is so significant. Like when I
Yeah.
started doing videos on YouTube too, I was just like, I need some comments, like I need some feedback from people. Like, I don't know how I'm doing. I don't know if people are liking this or not. Is it okay? Is it hitting? Is it not resonating with you? And it takes time. It takes a lot of patience to build that audience. So I was so appreciative when I joined Toastmasters to have an live people in front of me getting feedback right away, instantaneously. So I knew right away what I needed to work on to help engage and connect with people more.
I agree.
Did you catch it? Okay. There was a little frozen moment
There's a little
there.
bit frozen there.
Yeah. So I love that you said that your favorite part of Toastmasters is table topics, and you were talking about literally standing on a table, speaking to people. So I love that connection. And what's so interesting is table topics is I'm terrified of doing table topics because I think it's the short amount of time and try
Oh,
to make sure you don't know what the question is. So you have to go in completely unprepared. So tell me more about that experience and what that's like for you.
I guess it also depends on like the type of question, right? So if it's something that resonates with me and it's asked, usually I'm able to come up with a story or I have a story that is connected to that question. I look for key elements that I can talk about, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer than anticipated, but it's okay to have that longer pause. Like, oh, that is a good question. Give me 2 seconds. Let me come up with an example. All right, I think I'm ready. So it's okay to take that pause. For me, again, it just depends on the situations, depend on the question. Usually I'm able to come up with some sort of life story that goes along with that question. One of the questions that came up recently, because I do this in as a branch manager for our morning huddles, is what would you do if you had $1 million in your wallet? And that question, I was like, oh, I would pay off all my debts and I'd buy my parents a bigger house and I get myself that car. So it kind of those type of questions kind of like resonate with me because it's just something that you're like, oh, that is something that I actually want. This is something that I am connected to and really want to share about and motivate others to think that way too.
I agree. Yeah, it absolutely depends on the question. I think sometimes people get very creative and they just ask you really off the wall things, and you're like, let me try to find some slither of connection where I can make sense of this question somehow. Okay, so you're referring to some of the speakers that you really liked. I think you said Les Brown, and I think you referred to Tony Robbins, who, I've listened to Tony Robbins as well. Who's inspiring you today?
Gosh, I would say still Tony Robbins and Les Brown. I've been listening to a lot more of Steve Harvey though lately, and he's just straightforward. I I just like that he is just boisterous. He like uses his hands and he's very intentional on how he speaks. So he has like that, he has that dad, dad or uncle, a great uncle like tenacity kind of thing. Like, you can do this if you set your mind to it. And I'm just like, man, to have that intensity when you're talking to somebody, I'm like, I need that gravitas. Need that extra umph, I think. I come off like sometimes a little too fun, a little too playful. And I wouldn't mind having that little bit of bite, that little bit of teeth to be like, you can do it and like just really just hone in on that.
Yeah, maybe you're looking for your version of that bite. You're
Yeah.
kind of, do you feel like it's come out during some of your speeches where people are like, okay, Tessa, okay, we felt that.
I would say so. I would say the last speech that I did was kind of a little bit more bite. I did a presentation for my company and I showed a little bit more of my bite in that in regards to like making sure that we coach up our team members and hold daily huddles and things like that. And it was just a really interesting experience because I could see the facial expressions, and of course it was a Zoom meeting, and it it's just it's so much fun to watch like different reactions. You're like, oh, I didn't know she could say something like that, or wow, like that's a great way to put it. But I think it's all about the not only tone, but the how you carry yourself when you say something, right? It's all about in the body language and
Mhm.
the the vocabulary that you use. If you're using, simple vocabulary, sometimes they don't take you as seriously. And so if you're using really large words and things like that, they might take you a little bit more seriously.
Yeah. No, I love adding some bite into my speeches. My sister has that naturally. Like that's her
Oh.
personality. And she's in the military and she's a boss in the military. So she naturally has more of that bite to her. And that's something I like to bring into my YouTube videos as well. I like to develop that and flow in and out of anything because I think of myself as an artist, so I like to flow in and out of different vibes. If I'm feeling more of the bite in that sentence, then I will use it. I will bring it. So I'm curious to know, what has the Pathways experience been like for you using Pathways?
Gosh, it's been a little bit of an interesting jump. When I first started, the pathway I had started with was presentation mastery. And so it the I like that the new system now has everything flowing into one and flowing each individual slide. It's interesting that they incorporated a couple different buttons in there to either one view videos or leave commentary, and I like that part because it's also reflective on your journey as you're going through each of those stages. I know that before it used to be more of a click, 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 and then done. But I like that it's a little bit more reflective now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at the new program since they did a whole new update on the Pathways educational program online. So I'm not really sure. Someone was presenting a little bit of it. I'm an area director, Area 22 director. So I was at the meeting, the training, and they talked a little bit about it. And I was like, okay, it seems like they were making positive changes because having a in-person meeting where you're connecting with people and then having to go online and click through and learn and do the educational part sometimes can be a bit challenging for people to balance and to remember. I feel like personally for Pathways, for me, when I joined around COVID time, that was 2020, it's been beneficial because it gave me sort of a plan or a map to guide me. And I'm very self-sufficient. So I'm like, okay, if I need to go figure out how to put a speech together, I can just Google it, click through, and that works great for me. And I don't need no one needs to motivate me because I am happy. I wanted to like fly through it. I'm basically on level 4 and 2 of my pathways.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I love just getting accomplishing those goals and improving. But I'm kind of been stagnant lately because I'm stuck. I'm sort of stuck there. And then I have the level 5 speeches to do next, which are sort of the bigger presentations, bigger projects. So
Oh,
I
that'd
would
be
love,
really cool.
yeah,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
it's no, it's been a positive experience for me. I would love to know, what is your advice for people who are considering joining Toastmasters?
Gosh, I love this question only because advice is something that could be solicited and unsolicited, right? And for those who are probably watching, in regards to if they're debating on joining or going further within their pathways or learning more about their voice and motivating others, I'd say do it. Just do it. Get out of your comfort zone. It's going to be a bit uncomfortable, and that's okay. Everyone's here to support you and encourage you to do better and give you the tools to be successful. No one's going to fault you if you can't do something right away. And I would say practice as much as you can. If you need a cheerleader, I'm here for you.
That is some great advice for some future Toastmasters prospective members. Now, I'd like to dive into your entrepreneurship journey. I would like to know, what have you learned about yourself, and I would like to learn what it's been like for you building a business.
Oh gosh. So 2018 again was like kind of that turning point for me where It was after my grandfather died, and I wasn't sure where I wanted to go with YouTube. Did some modeling, things like that. And so TJ Bansky kind of started out as a modeling site where I did some freelance work for being a model. I had some encouragement from a couple different mentors when I was working at my previous employer that they were like, hey, you have a great smile. You have a great look. I think you should be a model. Um, I'm not a model right now, but I have done quite a few different things, and it was really fun. I switched over to YouTube because I felt it really wasn't a it really felt like modeling wasn't just it, right? There was something more that I was missing, and I wanted to share my journey in regards to things that I've been through, motivational things that I have learned that I'm hoping that it can help someone in the future. And that's kind of where I'm at with this business. At the height of COVID, I started a blog and had my system up and running. It's unfortunately not working right now, but once I do get it back up and running, I'm hoping to send it out to friends and family again. But basically, it was just a encouraging way to let them know that you're not alone, right? Everyone's going through a little bit of something, and I would have to say, like, being a part of a community that you can reach out to via, you know, internet, like via blog, whatever it is, I think it's important to know that you're not alone in whatever you're going through. For me, when it came to my grandfather, when he had passed away, I felt really alone, even though I had people around me. But it wasn't until like I started sharing that journey with people online that all of a sudden it kind of gave me some hope that there are other people who are going through the same thing or have been through it, and that it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel that grief for a little bit, and that there are going to be brighter days outside of that. And so I wanted to be a light for those who were going through that. Um, that was probably one of the biggest reasons why I started the YouTube channel, was to be that light, even if it was just one person that I've reached. Um, with I guess now with my entrepreneurial ship, I've been trying to get back into doing more YouTube channels, more YouTube videos, and getting connected with Instagram, some affiliate linking with that way, and just reaching out to smaller businesses to see how I can help them better their marketing. So it's been a journey. Yeah, it's been quite the journey.
I think entrepreneurship is always as such. I did coaching courses back in like 2017, maybe around 2018, around that time. And I felt like I was being called to, like you said, be a light. I wanted to help people in some way. So I took them and I learned a lot. But towards the end of the courses, I had this like weird feeling where I was like, I feel like I have to work more on myself before I can really get out there and help other people. And it's been a constant theme in my life. So it's sort of been like I promoted stuff on YouTube. I've done things for people. I dive into the like metaphysics. Basically, I like do tarot readings, energy reading stuff for people. And anyone can do it. You just tune into your intuition. If you have a spiritual, we all are spiritual beings. So if you feel connected to that spiritual essence within you, anyone can do it. And it's been so huge in terms of like my own transformation. So that's the thing I've been the most focused on because yes, I like to help people. I put out a video on YouTube from time to time. I took a year off of my from my channel and I stopped creating anything because I just needed that time to focus on myself. So entrepreneurship is always such an interesting journey. It's kind of a solo journey for a lot of people because you're having to build this out of your own motivation. You're having to keep yourself motivated. You're having to really dive deep to figure out what are my ideas?
Yeah.
What do I feel called to? And I love that your messaging is helping people because I kind of I kind of lean in from the other direction where I'm interested in what can I create? Like, how can I have fun? And then it's like, if it helps people, that's great too. And so
No,
I'm learning how to fuse the two together.
used to too. Oh yeah, no, when that first year of doing YouTube channels or YouTube videos was definitely about what more can I create? And then later it kind of evolved into I learned this about myself. How can I help share that info with someone who's going through that? But like building confidence, for instance, like Toastmasters has helped me in that in regard because it's just been so I've struggled with that all my life, just the self-confidence kind of thing. And being part of Toastmasters has helped develop my voice in that. And it's been really awesome to like see that I can do that also on a different platform and can find their voices.
Right. Finding your voice. It's so important. That was one of my speeches I think I did last year. They were like, hey, write a speech and come to our, I think it was professionally speaking. It might have been them who evaluated me. But I did a speech and my main message was finding your voice because I was a quiet child. I was a reticent child for so long. And it took a lot of time for me to find my voice, to have the courage to speak to people, to speak to an audience. Did you catch
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Great. I saw a little frozen screen, so I just want to make sure. But yeah, it took me some time to find my voice and to speak up courageously and speak my mind. Now I'm at a place where I enjoy it so much. Okay. All right. I think it froze
Can
a
you hear
little
me
bit.
okay?
I can hear you right now.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you know what? We're kind of getting to the end. So I would like to know for our final question to the audience, where are you feeling called to next?
Oh, that is a great question. Gosh. Um, well, hopefully I can be a part of the next club, which I'm excited to get there. But what's calling me right now is setting up a a speaking business. Um, I don't want to because it's not in the works yet, but that is something that I have been pondering and mulling to others and speak around the country. I think that would be really fun. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, here's our tea, everyone. It's our tea for the Toast and Tea podcast. We both came prepared today. Right. I love that. It seems like because you've been a part of the club for 6 years now
Yeah.
in Toastmasters. So you
Yeah.
have so much wisdom and knowledge to offer to other people. And just the way that you talked about Toastmasters, you're very well informed about the experience in general, but also your own experience. You seem to be gaining so much from it, learning so much about yourself through it. And that's why I love it. That's why I'm a part of it. That's why I'm creating a podcast on it, because I want more people to know, hey, if you need to sharpen these skills, there is a program that is affordable, it's priced right for you to get group coaching. Honestly, every meeting you get group
Mhm.
coaching. All of these people are here to offer their advice and give you some phenomenal feedback. All right. Is there any final words you want to share with the audience at all, Tessa?
Just one, keep kicking and smiling. And hey, like if you want to join, join. It's you got nothing to lose. You got it all the confidence in the world to gain and take a chance on yourself, find your voice.
All right, we're going to end it on that note. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for the Toast and Tea podcast. And we will see you the next time for the next episode. I hope you have a beautiful day or evening. Bye.
Bye.